Hello everybody, my name is Leonard. So today we're going to be talking about small business designation. So whenever you're talking about wanting to work in a business, you guys will think of two terms, small business and big business, right? And so you guys would tend to want to work at big business, and you guys would usually feel more proud or more satisfied that you're working at a big business. But what you guys do not know, that a lot of you guys do not know, is that small business are actually way much more cooler than you guys think. Because here, small business may seem small or insignificant or not worth the hype, but small business affect 50% of the employment rate in the United States alone. So 50% of the workers that are employed in the United States work for small business, and it affects on to a very big amount of the whole company, of the whole country's GDP. And so that is why it is so important, and that is why although there are a lot of small business out there, our country could still survive and thrive so good in the economy. So here, let's look at some characteristics of a small business to look at how is it designed. So first is that it must have fewer than 500 employees overall. And so 500 employees is the estimated amount, because this amount could be fluctuated or basically changed, depends on the industry that you guys are in. So for example, if you guys are in an engineering or technology industry, then the amount will be different from a makeup or a clothing industry, right? And so it is usually estimated to be roughly about 500 employees. And if you have anywhere higher than that, then your company wouldn't be considered as a small business. Secondly is that your company has to make less than 10 million United States dollars in sales. So the overall sales for your own company, like the overall sales in the very first day, if they all added up together and they are under $10 million in the United States, then you are considered as a small business. Small business actually have a lot of other characteristics. First is that it usually would be designed, and its organization would usually be in the flat organization. So that means it's not in a hierarchy organization, and so there's not much of like divide between an ordinary worker and a CEO. So usually it will be in the flat designation. And secondly is that it will usually be in an open-minded or like an open business culture, which means that usually communication will be faster, changes will be implemented easier and quicker, and innovations and solutions are more widely recommended. And so that is when the open business culture would affect more into these industries. And so that is all about small business destination. And so small business may seem not as cool or not as dope as big business, but still they affect heavily into a country's GDP. They do have their own characteristics, and that even though if it's a big or a small business, it could still affect widely into the consumer production and into the sales and into the trends, etc. in an industry. Thank you for listening, and